Hi, it's Antonia here, and today we're going to be talking about finding your purpose, finding your why. Now, maybe you're watching this video because at the moment it feels like life feels pretty dull. Maybe you feel like you're repeating the same patterns, the same kind of days and lifestyle, and it's not really filling you up. You're feeling like something is missing, maybe you're feeling a bit empty, and it feels like you're on autopilot. And you know that there is something waiting to be awakened within you. You know that you're here to create more with your life. You know you're here to experience more joy, more fulfillment, more purpose. And you're ready to start exploring your purpose and your full potential. So in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you the steps that I took personally to find my purpose, and I'm going to be sharing with you my story and how you can also do that journey of self-discovery to find your purpose too. So it's important to mention that obviously I know what it feels like to live without a purpose. So that was me for many years while I was caught up in my career as a corporate lawyer. I found myself feeling unfulfilled, feeling like I wasn't living the life that I was here to live. I always found myself caught up in this desire to create something different, but feeling too afraid to go and make a change. So I was in that corporate cycle for many years, feeling burnt out, feeling like I was just living day by day on autopilot, the same old things, waking up, going to work, feeling exhausted by the end of the day and feeling like, I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. And living like that, it ultimately led me to a place where I got really, really sick. So I did burn out. I ended up in hospital, diagnosed with cancer, autoimmunity, hormonal imbalances, endometriosis. The list goes on. Like, my health was a mess. And it's because I had been living out of alignment to the truth of who I am. I'd created these imbalances in my mind, in my body, and of course in my life as well. So it wasn't just my professional life that felt out of balance. These imbalances, they also rippled out into my relationships, because I wasn't my best self. I was maybe stressed and tired. I wasn't giving my all to my relationships, and I definitely wasn't attracting the right kind of people into my life either. And I was caught up in patterns of escapism, trying to numb out the pain that I was feeling. But I wasn't even aware of it at the time. I'd do things like party and drink, during the week and also at the weekends. I would do things like go to yoga 3 times a day because that was the only place where I felt like I could come home to myself and be present in my body. But it was an escape because for the rest of the day, I would be in stress, feel like I'm fighting fires and feeling really misaligned to living like my best life. So when I hit that rock bottom, when I realized in order to heal, in order to truly heal, I had to come back in alignment to who I was in my mind, in my body, and in my life. I had to create balance in all of these areas in order to create an environment in my body and in my mind where I could actually heal. And thankfully that worked. I actually reversed my illnesses, got my health and got my life back in an even more radiant and fulfilling way than I ever could have imagined. So when I was on that journey of trying to figure out, okay, what is my purpose? Like, what is that part of my holistic health and happiness that I really need to come home to? I had to go inward and really figure out, what are my key values? What are my core whys? What drives me? What excites me? What am I here to live for? What is really turning me on and giving me energy and making me feel alive? And when I was on that journey, I came home to the truth that what was like the most important thing to me was prioritizing health and happiness. So for me personally, the number one thing that is important in my life is making sure that health and happiness are the number one priority. So I knew that whatever change I had to make in my life, health, happiness had to be in the center of it. So this therefore broke me free from that cycle of, trading my health for wealth. In corporate law, yes, I was making a lot of money. Yes, I could have continued on the path to partnership, become a millionaire on that track for sure, but I wouldn't have been healthy, and I definitely wouldn't have been happy, because I would have been doing work that didn't light me up. I would have been making sacrifices along the way, working long hours, missing out on things with family and friends, maybe having limited holidays and limited opportunities to travel. So I knew that this was not going to be the path that was going to allow me to prioritize my core value of health and happiness. But what I also discovered was that I need to do something meaningful to me. I need to be doing work that makes me feel like I'm having an impact, where I'm helping people. And of course, that core value of health and happiness, that ran through this theme as well. I knew that my real mission in life, what really made me excited, was helping other people to be healthy and happy. And this has been something that's been a core theme, throughout my life. I've always been super passionate about health and wellness. I was, doing yoga, meditation, breath work, 10 years ago, before it was cool and mainstream. These were the things that I was doing for fun because I loved it. And I come from a family where we have lots of healers, we have lots of wellness practitioners in my family. So it's what I grew up with. It's in my blood, it's in my DNA. But I tried to run away from that because I tried to create, a successful, on paper life. I decided to go and be a lawyer. And unfortunately, that was not true for me. This was conditioning. This was conditioning of what success is from the outside. I had taken on ideas about success that I can find that in corporate and I can find that in law. So it was definitely not aligned to me. Now, interestingly, one of the core reasons that also called me to law in the first place was this desire to bring justice. I really wanted to help people, and I actually really wanted to help families, especially women, because I had seen in my own personal upbringing, the legal system had not supported the women in my family that well. So I wanted to change that. I wanted to create a new system where there could be more justice for women. And that was my core driver, why I probably went into law, but it got lost along that way. I lost my core why, I lost my core driver, and I got caught up in the world of law, in the world of needing to get a training contract and go to a corporate firm. So I was disconnected from my mission, from my passion, and from my why. And that is what made me so sick on that journey. And when I started to become aware of these imbalances, the first thing that I did was try to bring my current situation as in alignment as possible. So I started prioritizing my health and my happiness. I started setting these boundaries and setting my priorities straight, which made sure that I could help myself to heal. I sought out opportunities in my work where I could align myself to helping women and to being connected to my passion of health and wellness. So I ended up working on legal projects where I was helping entrepreneurial women who were creating fitness and health brands, global brands, helping women all over the world with their health and with their fitness. And that was exciting. It was good legal work to be involved in. But because I was deeply connected to my values and to my mission at this point, I knew at some point I could not stay and settle for that. I could not settle for being the lawyer working on these projects. I felt this deeper calling to be more on the front lines, to really be helping women in their health and fitness, because I knew that I have talents, I have gifts, I have amazing things to share with the world, and keeping that hidden, keeping that in the back seat, that would have been a huge and massive disservice. And that has proved to be true for the last couple of years that I've been working in natural balance. The changes that I've created in these women's lives is just so magical and so mind-blowing. So it's definitely been worth it already, just by, oh my goodness, making that impact in so many women's lives already. So coming back to like the other core things that I was really discovering were like my core drivers, my core reasons for needing to make a change in my life, my why, my purpose. I also knew that what was important to me was to have this creative expression. So in law, in my corporate career, I felt quite boxed in creatively. I felt like I was doing very analytical work, very mind heavy, having to follow structures and processes, and it didn't allow me to fully expand into my creative potential and to express myself creatively. So it literally felt like I was in a box, being muted and getting stuck in a system that actually wasn't allowing me to explore my full self and my full potential. So I knew that whatever I do next to align myself to my purpose and to my why, I knew that I needed to allow myself that creative freedom. So this then matches also what I'm doing now. I'm my own boss, I'm an entrepreneur. I get to design my programs. I get to design how my work schedule is. I get to create these amazing healing modalities which help the women, and it's, oh my goodness, so amazing. Like it's right at home for me. The other thing that I knew was important to me, so one of the other core values, core drivers for me, was freedom to travel, freedom to be on my own time, freedom to explore my own energy and make the most of my life on my terms. So when I was in that corporate structure, I was literally just living for my holidays, for those opportunities to travel. I'd be at work, thinking about the next holiday, trying to plan the next holiday, looking forward to traveling so much, go on that travel, feel really alive, feel like, yes, like this is where I'm supposed to be. This is why I'm here, to experience all of the beauty around the world. And then as soon as I got back to my daily life, to my job, I would already be wanting to escape to the next one. So I was caught in this pattern of escapism, living not just for the weekend, but literally living for each opportunity to travel and get away. So I knew that that was a really healthy pattern a really unhealthy pattern to get into, because it meant that I wasn't really present in my life. I wasn't really creating a life that was fulfilling most of the time. It was just limiting my happiness and my well-being and my fulfillment to those limited periods of time throughout the year where I could go off and be free. The other thing is, like in those corporate hours, in that corporate life, the hours were very intense. So they were depleting me. I felt like I was being forced to work at times when actually I didn't feel like it. I wasn't feeling creative or inspired, and I just felt like I was wasting away my life behind the computer. And especially going into those late nights, I literally felt like every time I was at my desk late, there were literally like days, months, years being taken off of my lifespan. So I intuitively knew that living like this was actually killing me on the inside. So just to recap, how I really discovered that purpose, that why, the things that really lit me up was by really getting clear on what was most important to me. Like, what is my value, my core values? What are my priorities in life? What kind of work do I want to be doing? It's important to me that I'm doing impactful work, making a difference that is connected to my passion. It was important that I was able to create a lifestyle where I could be free to live life on my terms, where I could be creative, and where whatever I was doing for work, it was really aligned to the truth of who I am, to the thing that has always been a core theme throughout my life. Like I mentioned, I grew up in this environment where health, happiness, healing, wellness, this was just in the DNA of my life and who I am. So I knew that in order to find my purpose and live my purpose and bring myself into alignment to live my best life, the healthiest and happiest life, I knew I had to align myself back to that core theme, that core driver that was there the whole time throughout my life. So what I recommend you doing is really starting that journey of self-discovery to start reflecting on what are your core drivers, what are your core values, what are your priorities, what does an authentically enriching and successful life look like to you. So really start reflecting on that. And this is probably quite challenging for a lot of people. And the reason this is, so maybe you've been asking yourself these kinds of questions for quite some time now, and you're starting to bang your head against the wall thinking, when am I going to get the answers? So let me share something with you, because these questions, like what is your purpose? What is your why? What are your passions? What is your mission in life? What are you going to do next with your life? These kinds of questions, they're logical in nature. So these logical questions, you're asking to the prefrontal cortex of your brain. So it's where we are processing information, we're making decisions, we're thinking actively. But that is not where the answers to these questions are. The answers to the questions about what your purpose is in life, about what your passions are, about what your why are, these questions are emotional in nature. And they are hidden in your subconscious, which means they're unconscious, which means it's so difficult for people to realize and remember what their purpose is, because it's not known unless you're able to access that part of you. So how do we access that part of you? So this is exactly what I do with my clients one-on-one. I actually have a system that allows us to tap into the limbic brain, the limbic system, which is where your emotions, your subconscious information is hidden. These questions about what is your purpose, what is your passion, what is your why, it is inside of you, and you just need to know how to start accessing that part of you. So what I do with my women is I connect them inward to that part of themselves, strengthen their intuition, strengthen their ability to access and receive information from their emotions, from their emotional body, and from their unconscious mind. So when we do that, it's so incredible. Like there's always these mind-blowing moments, because all of this information comes streaming out. It is pure, innate wisdom, the truth of who you are. You get to receive it, and you know with crystal clear clarity what it is that you're here to do. Everything in your life starts to make sense. All of the decisions that you've made in your past, all of the challenges, all of the obstacles, all of the imbalances, it all suddenly makes sense, and you know how to correct it. You know where it is you want to go in your future, and you start to reconnect to the truth of who you are. You remember your purpose, and you get to create this empowering vision and mission for the rest of your life. So if this sounds like something that you are ready to do, to really finally get those clear answers so you can actually move on with your life and start living your purpose. The sooner we find our purpose, the sooner we remember our whys and our passions, and the sooner we get to make these decisions to realign ourselves to it, the sooner we get to live it, the sooner we get to create and live and feel like we're living a fulfilling and happy and healthy life. So if you're ready to take that journey, then I do invite you to book in for a call with me via the link below, and I'm just going to have a chat with you, and I'll share with you more about that system that I use with my clients so it can help you too. So what happens next? Right? Once we get clear on the purpose, on the why, on the passions, on the core drivers, when we are clear on this, the next thing that we need to start doing is really bringing it all together in a clear mission, in a clear roadmap, a path for you to go and transition into. Because you don't just want to know what your purpose is in life and what your passions are and what your drivers are. You don't just want to know that, because knowing it, that's weak, it's limited. Like you just have this idea in your brain, but it's not embodied, you're not living it. So we want to have this embodied knowing. We actually want to transform into being the embodiment of our purpose. We want to live it. So how we do that is we identify all of these core themes and we bring them together. It's also like a superpower moment where I bring all these themes in my clients' lives together and help them create this impactful, powerful mission for their lives. So we start to create this mission, we start to create this path ahead for you. And yes, we can have these big, like long-term visions and long-term goals, we want to break them up into smaller goals, into smaller actionable steps. And what we start with is aligning yourself to more purpose, more passion in your current life. So before we start thinking about making big life changes, we first get those small wins, like really so you can start enjoying your life more from today. We start aligning your daily life, your daily habits, your daily actions, the present work and current work relationships that you have going on. We start aligning that to you. So you already start winning from that day one, and this helps you get into that rhythm of creating a more fulfilling and more purposeful life. Like you already start doing it from the beginning. It then starts to create a new pattern where you start consciously and unconsciously just knowing how to create and live a more purposeful life. It becomes who you are. And then for the longer term goals, which may require some big changes in your life, some big decisions to make, this is where a lot of people often get stuck. They become afraid of making a change. They start holding on to the past, thinking, I can't do it, it's too scary, maybe I should just settle where I am, it's good enough, I have an okay life. Like when I really think about it, there's a lot to be grateful for, it's not that bad, I'm just gonna stay. When you do that, oh my goodness, you're depriving your soul, you're depriving yourself of the highest level of joy and fulfillment in your life. There becomes a point where when you know your purpose, you know too much. You can't stay. You can't settle. It's time to keep moving forward, because you know that if you stay, if you settle, then you're going to regret it later on in your life. You're going to feel like you made that bad decision out of fear and you didn't allow yourself to really live and give yourself that opportunity to live life at the highest level. So in order to make these changes, we have to be willing to change parts of us. And what I mean by that is reprogram your mindset to be at the level of you who is already living her purpose, who already has the confidence of a woman who is living her purpose, who already has the self-love and the self-worth of a woman who is living her purpose. Because if you try to create a life of purpose from a place where you don't feel confident, from a place where you're lacking self-worth, and with a mindset which has old and rusty and crusty beliefs from the past, ideas about success which aren't really yours, ideas about how you should be living your life, what you should be doing with your time, what you should be doing with your money, and how you should be making money, for example. If you're holding on to these old ideas from the past which aren't really authentic and aligned to you and aligned to that version of you in the future, then you're going to keep blocking yourself. You're going to realize that your mind is getting in the way of you progressing forward and moving on with your life. So you're going to be sabotaging yourself. You're going to be getting stuck in your head, worrying, being afraid, and getting anxious about making changes. I see so many women who they know, like in their heart, they want to make a change, but their mind is driving them crazy with all of this fear, all of these doubts. And so it causes them a lot of stress. It causes them a lot of anxiety and a lot of pain and suffering. And that's the craziest thing about us humans, is that the number one cause of our suffering is actually our own mind. So we want to be able to master the mind, to make sure that we are creating this environment up here that allows us to bring this authentic genius into our life that can then create life on your authentic terms. So it's like creating your life from a place of purpose, looking at your life and looking at the world through this lens in your mindset of purpose, confidence, and self-love, as opposed to looking at your life and making decisions and looking at the world from a place of fear and self-doubt and anxiety. You're going to get very different results depending on which approach you take up here. So in order to make that journey to living your purpose seamless, easy, fun, enchanting, exciting, we have to do that internal transformation. Otherwise, you become your own worst enemy. And going even deeper than that, we want to start letting go of the version of you that you have been in the past. So if you are in your life right now experiencing imbalances, maybe you're working long hours, you're doing work that's not fulfilling, you're caught up in people pleasing, you're easily triggered, getting upset or angry, you're attracting relationship patterns which aren't serving you. These are just a few examples. Whatever it is that is in your life right now, which is uncomfortable, which is out of balance, the next thing to do is to do that work to break free from these patterns. Because I've met so many women who did take that leap. They started living their purpose, their passion, but they brought all of the patterns, all of the shit from the past with them. So they ended up creating the same patterns of the past. They ended up, for example, doing the job that they love, but unwilling to switch off. So always on up here and wired. They can't say no. They can't switch off and allow themselves to have healthy boundaries. They're working late just because they literally can't pull themselves away from their computer. So they end up creating that same pattern of feeling like something is missing, feeling like my life is just work. I'm starting to lose passion for this, and feeling unmotivated because they're burning out. Another example is I've seen a woman, transform into her purpose, and she came to me because she had this problem where she just didn't feel it anymore. She was helping people recover from addictions, and it's a very difficult topic to be working with people on, and it was causing her a lot of pain and suffering. And she'd always had this pattern in the past of being an empath, being very empathetic. So this obviously makes her good as a coach and as a counselor. She can really understand people and be empathetic. So one of her strongest strengths, also one of her biggest weaknesses, because then she was taking on so much pain and suffering from her clients that then she literally allowed herself to crumble into her darkest depths, into depression, into anxiety, into sleepless nights. And therefore she ended up sabotaging herself and her clients because she couldn't then show up as the strong version of her that she needed to be to help people on that path. So she had to learn how to have strong emotional and energetic boundaries, how to actually process her emotions and let negativity go so she wasn't carrying it around all the time. You see, start to think about in your future when you change and become that version of you who is living her purpose, when you start doing the work that excites you and turns you on, what are the patterns from your past that you don't want to bring into your future? So it's time to break those patterns. This is exactly what I do with my women. I work with them to reprogram their mind. So once we've got clear on their purpose, we reprogram their mind to be confident, to be aligned, to be in that place of authentic self-love and self-worth so they can live their purpose. Then we also then start breaking through all of those patterns in their past which block them from actually living their purpose, from actually living their purpose, from actually living a fulfilled life, which allows them to be healthy and happy. So it's never just about finding your purpose and making a decision to start living a new life. It's so much deeper than that because, the thing about life is that it's so multifaceted. Like your quality of life is determined on so much more than what you're doing in your life. So it's so much more than the action or the work that you're doing. What actually plays a bigger impact is your emotional experience. So if your emotions are dysregulated, if you don't know how to create emotional balance, then you're going to be limited in your enjoyment of life by negative emotions that keep creeping in. What's also more important is actually what's going on in your mind, your mindset. Because if you are, for example, working your passion and your purposeful job, but up here, you're causing pain and suffering, you're criticizing yourself, telling yourself you're not good enough, telling yourself you need to do more, you need to do harder, comparing yourself to other people, picking apart your appearance, and being critical and judgmental of other people and bickering with your partner. You could be living your purpose, but you could be still very unhappy because up here you're creating a lot of your own suffering. And again, another thing is you could be living your purpose, but if you don't have that self-love, self-respect, and if you're not allowing your body to be healthy and happy, then you could be draining your energy. You could be causing yourself to lack radiance, to lack longevity, and you could be sick in your body. So there's so much to this journey of living a really healthy, happy, and fulfilling life of purpose. So I really hope that today's video helped to uncover some of those steps that you need to start taking, some of those things that you need to start thinking about to really align yourself to a life of authentic purpose. Because you deserve to be happy, you deserve to be healthy, and you deserve to live a life of fulfillment. Now, interestingly, let me just share with you, because I am so clear on my purpose. I live it, I breathe it every single day since I discovered it. My purpose is to bring balance. My purpose is to help people be healthy and happy and live a fulfilling life. The way that I do that currently is by helping women to become the healthiest and happiest version of themselves, and to help them discover their purpose and create and live a fulfilling and balanced life. That is the current expression of my purpose. But I know that that is the present expression. I know that in the future, my expression of my purpose may be different. Because, for example, let's look back to when I chose to go into law. I chose to go into law to bring balance, to bring justice, to help people be happier and healthier in their life. That is my purpose, but I'm not married to the expression of the purpose right now, because I know that in order for me to always be in the highest alignment, to always be living the most fulfilling and authentic version of me, I need to be open to the fact that I'm growing every day, I'm expanding every day. At some point later in my life, maybe my expression of my purpose is going to look different. And I love that. That sounds really exciting to me, because it means that life is so dynamic. So oftentimes I hear women being afraid that they're like, oh, but once I find my purpose, then that's it. Like, what do I need to live for? That's not the case. Like, you're always growing, you're always evolving. It always gets to get better. So I know that, yes, I feel so good. I feel so alive and activated and radiant doing the work that I'm doing now. But I know that I'm still young, I'm still growing, I'm still evolving. There's still a lot of life ahead of me. I'm excited as well for the future, because I have this sense of knowing how to master, really aligning myself to the highest expression of purpose and alignment and fulfillment in my life. And it's a beautiful gift, and it's something that I bless all of my clients with, because when they do that process of discovering and aligning to their purpose once, they know how to do it. It means they can do it repeatedly throughout their life, as often as they need, in order to continuously align themselves to that highest level. You know, as soon as we start feeling friction or discomfort in our lives, that's feedback that it's time to grow, that it's time to maybe tweak something and change something. So it's a beautiful gift to be able to know that you don't have to suffer when things don't feel right. You know how to actually ride that wave of change. That's one constant in life, is change. You know how to ride that wave of change, transformation, and growth. So you can always be creating the healthiest, happiest, and most vibrant, fulfilled version of yourself. So I hope this video gives you so much food for thought today, and I wish you so much luck and blessings on your journey to discover and live your purpose. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love if you could put down below what is your key takeaway from this video. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a beautiful day.